A lot of things. They're still quietly wondering, though, why they still feel stuck. Hi, everyone. I'm Kate, and I use neuro linguistic programming, NLP, and hypnosis to help women get out of a place where they just feel stuck and trapped. Because I know personally what it can feel like to be in this place where you just feel like you're trying all these different things, you're going to all these different specialists, and just not getting answers and not getting to a place that's actually helping you. So this trying all these things and not getting where you wanna go, it's kinda like trying to drive somewhere and one foot is on the brake or one foot is on the gas and one foot is on the brake. You can press harder on the gas, you can upgrade the engine, you can even use better fuel, but if your foot's still on the brake, you're not gonna go very far. Definitely not gonna go very far fast. And most women keep trying to improve the car, keep trying to improve the gas, but what we're often not looking at, or what we're not looking at often enough, is why is the foot on the brake in the first place? That brake, in my experience and what I've seen both personally in my own journey, is usually nervous system related. It's usually a subconscious pattern that's running in the background that's honestly trying to keep you safe. This was my experience. As I mentioned, I was diagnosed with MS in my early 20s. It was a little over 20 years now. And I remember going through this journey of feeling like I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything the doctors are telling me. I experienced this later in life as well when it came to hormone related problems. And every time I would go to a doctor or to a specialist, or therapy was recommended or medication was recommended, and it was like, I'm doing everything I'm told and I'm just not getting where I wanna go, and I couldn't figure out why, until I started to kinda take a step back and question some things. For myself, it was questioning beliefs, and belief work is a lot of what I help people with now, because as I said, I use, neuro-linguistic programming, which helps us to kind of look under the hood and figure out what's going on underneath the surface. Because often when you're going to these doctors, these specialists, they are great people, and they serve a very big purpose when it comes to emergency situations, but if you're stuck in a place where your lab work is perfect, is normal, doctors tell you there's nothing wrong with you, but you still don't feel like yourself, something else is going on. And medicine and a lot of the other practitioners are looking at the stuff side of things. So they're looking at blood work, they're looking at hormones, they're looking at different pieces and parts of the body. But the thing that's often not considered is the subconscious mind, is the mind body connection. And many of us know that mind and body is very powerful. Because if you think of watching a television show or a movie and a sad scene happens, and maybe you cry, or a funny scene happens and you laugh, those things aren't actually happening. That's responding to suggestion physically. So, this is a demonstration of how the mind can influence and impact the body. And so when we can tap into what's actually going on at a subconscious level in your mind that's holding you back and keeping you stuck where you are, we can help kind of redirect things to move you into a different direction. As I said, with my experience with MS 20 years ago diagnosed, from a young age, I had mechanisms that I'd built for myself, which we all do, where experiences that I happened to me at a young age taught my body, taught my mind how to respond to certain dangers. And now I'm a grown adult. I am not a 4-year-old anymore. So things that were dangerous and protective ways of dealing with things at that age was very useful for me. But now it may not be serving me if I'm looking to move towards a different goal. And this is something that I see all of the time working with clients, is that the actions that are automatically happening for them are ones that, yes, may have served them a purpose at a time. And now it's just not working. And so when we start to shift and address these things, it's cool what happens. When we think of our life as like the mind stores every experience that's happened to you basically on a timeline. Everyone's timeline is going to be different. For me, the past is on my left, the future is to the right. I have many clients where the future is in front of them and the past is behind them. And the whole thing around working with your timeline that's really cool is that we can kind of clean up some of the stuff in the past that you're still responding to. Your mind is still seeing situations that come up now and comparing it to things that happened in the past and then creating a similar response. So you can let go and clean up of some of the old stuff that's going on and start responding to things in a different way. So for me, knowing that at 4 years old, I mean, I wrote a book recently, and this is mentioned in my book as well, but at 4 years old, I learned that it was important to put my needs aside to make sure that everyone else was okay and was safe. And so my body responds anytime that someone is upset or is hurting or whatever, as like it's my duty to make sure that they're okay and then suppress my needs. And eventually, over time, when we do this for a long period of time, your needs will have to get met at some point, and the body will start to show you that in different ways. This is a very common pattern that I see because I work with a lot of MS clients, being as that was my history, but autoimmune on all different levels. I often see this. This is typically women that I work with. I do have some more recent male clients as well, but the women clients specifically, often as children, they put everyone else's needs before themselves. And so from a young age, that protective mechanism may have served them at some point. Your unconscious, subconscious mind is always has your best interest at heart. And so it will do things to protect you, to serve you in some way, but those things may not be benefiting you now. And so the reminder that I want you to understand here and to know here is that even if you're still dealing with fatigue or brain fog or hormone chaos or autoimmune systems symptoms, and you're not looking for prescriptions, or maybe you've tried therapy or mindset work or lifestyle changes and quietly have been thinking, why am I still stuck? The message I want you to know is you're not crazy. You're not broken. To have heard that myself 10 years ago before I found kind of my own way back to health. I've been symptom free for 10 years now. So, but before I found that, before I knew that that was possible, hearing that I wasn't broken and actually being able to embody that would have been a game changer for me. So, this is why I want to make sure I share this with you. You are not broken. You're not failing. So after the diagnosis and the moment of fear that was created, I mean, around a diagnosis or symptoms come up, and often there can be this like, whoa, where did this come from? Then you go to the doctor, you go to the specialist, and you don't get answers. That doesn't help the fear either, because there's this feeling of feeling like I'm alone and there's nothing I can do. But when it comes to I use timeline work frequently, as I mentioned a little bit. Like for me, my past is on my left, my future is on my right. We all sort time and organize time in different ways. But using timeline, we can go back to that initial sensitizing event that caused your mind to think that this is the way I respond to stress. And we can change that so that you can start responding to things in a different way. And the differences that come up in terms of relationships, this can be family, this can be your spouse, this can be at work, this can be like communication is a big part of our life and a big part of how we function and operate in the world and what is attracted to us. And the better you can communicate with yourself, first of all, makes a big impact on your health, on your quality of life, on your well being. But being able to communicate better or more improved in the world makes a difference in relationships, any relationships with people or the ones that are around you. So, personally, I've found that using NLP, neuro linguistic programming, using timeline work has made like a huge impact in terms of my marriage, in terms of my business and my success of working with people, and in my own health as well. And so that's why I love sharing this with people, because I have multiple MS clients who are like taking their power back, because we're often led to believe that there's nothing we can do. When things are going wrong, well, that's just the way it is. Well, you just are expected to start to expect decline when it comes to getting older, when it comes to any health stuff that you're dealing with. It's when it comes to the economy, whatever you want to talk about, we're told that we just need to expect that things are the way they are. But what if they're not? What if there's more possibility around that? And it's a beautiful thing to start to kind of have some curiosity around, because so much more is possible. Ultimately, your nervous system is what decides safety. Your subconscious mind runs protective programs. And so when we can teach your mind and body a different way to respond to things, a way that helps you move towards your goals, it's pretty cool because your body will follow those instructions. And so you can't think your way out of a pattern your body learned for safety. You can't think your way out of a pattern your body learned for safety. And this is why therapy often only creates awareness for people. We'll look at the thing that was a sensitizing event that caused problems for you, but awareness alone doesn't create change. And so, what I'm going to ask you to do today, I was hoping some people would be on live, but it is Family Day in Ontario and Canada. So, I completely understand this. But if you're watching the replay, just drop a hashtag replay in the chat for me, just so that I can know who is watching this. It's great to have communication and connection with people. But what I want you to do right now, so we're going to do a little experience, a little awareness shift to get more understanding of your body and what's going on. So just notice for a moment how you feel in your body right now. And take a slow breath in through your nose and an even slower breath out through your mouth. And bring to mind one area of your health or life that feels stuck right now. And then imagine what it would feel like if your body felt supported instead of pressured. Notice any shift you feel, even if it's only 1%. Did anything change? Even slightly? If something shifted, that is state. And state precedes strategy. This is the layer that most coaches, most practitioners miss. We can go forward with a new strategy, a new diet, a new exercise plan, new supplements, new medication. Any of these strategies may be great, but if your state doesn't support them, they won't work as effectively as they could. And so just recognizing for yourself for a moment that state is something you can control. State is the only thing, or you are the only one that can control your state. So imagine what it feels like to walk into a situation where you feel confident, awesome, powerful, on top of the world. Feel that in your body. Notice any sensations that come up for you. And how would this be different? How would this be different if you walked into this state feeling like you weren't capable? You weren't powerful. You didn't have everything you needed. It's very different, isn't it? Imagine walking into a conversation with your spouse or a date night or something with your kids. Or what about something at work? Don't worry, I'm not going to keep you here for a long time. Or something at work. When you're in a low state or a state that doesn't support you moving forward, you respond differently. State is what creates change. State is what gives us access to so much more than we've ever known that was possible. So shake that out. And now imagine yourself like just had the best experience possible. Things are going your way completely. You are confident, you are strong, you are powerful, you are capable. How does that feel in your body? And so anytime you go into these situations, maybe it's a conversation with the boss, maybe it's something at work, Maybe it's to go give a presentation. This is an exercise that I do for myself. There's a little bit more nuances around setting it up, but it's all about getting yourself into a very positive state. And the outcome and the benefit from that is pretty awesome. Because if you imagine your body not operating from protection, imagine your body operating from a place of confidence, of certainty, of possibility. Imagine what it would be like to just move forward. Imagine someone looking at patterns instead of just numbers. This is exactly what I help clients explore. This can be around finances. Health is my specialty as well, many autoimmune clients. And what we do inside of a private breakthrough screening is we take a look at nervous system patterns. What are the patterns that have been keeping you in the same place? Often they're patterns that have been there probably since you were pretty little. Because under the age of 8, we take on a lot from our surroundings, from the people that are important to us, from authority, people that are older than us, our elders. And these patterns will shape the way that we behave, the way that we show up, the way we perform in our everyday life. But these patterns can change because they may not be serving you to the best that they could. Another thing we look at in the private breakthrough screening is subconscious stress responses. As I mentioned, at 4 years old, I had this experience where if things were stressful and uncertain, it was my responsibility. I decided this. I don't blame anyone else for this, but I took it on and like accepted that it was my responsibility to suppress my needs and my feelings to make sure that everyone else is okay. And that impacted me huge for a good chunk of my life until I recognized it and started to change it. So, subconscious stress response is a big part of what I help clients with because when we can see how your body is responding to stress, we can often, it makes a lot of sense why challenges that you've been dealing with, especially around health, have shown up. And then we can redirect that so the body starts responding a different way. And then I also like to look at physiological imbalances, not labels, not to diagnose, to connect the dots. Because under the surface, if you've tried everything and nothing's working, or if you're a smart, capable woman and you're still finding you feel stuck, there's there's dots that need to be connected that probably no one has ever helped you do. So if this is something that interests you, if something in you knows there's a missing piece, you're probably right. And I'd love to help you look at it. So message me the word pattern if you have questions or if you'd like to know more. And let's figure out what's going on under the surface for you. Connect the dots so you can start moving towards amazing progress, be it in your health, your business, your relationships. More is possible. Let's connect those dots. Thanks for watching.